Hello, I'm Ronnie Eldridge, and welcome to Keeping Relevant. My guest, Betsy Gotbaum, is currently the Executive Director of Citizens Union and the Citizens Union Foundation. But since she started working more than 50 years ago, she's lived immersed in our city's public service and civic affairs, and that life of relevance is what I want to talk about today. So welcome.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
It's really nice to have you. We've known each other this length of time.
A long time. You got me my start in city government.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really.
I got into a campaign as I think I saw you one day say something similar to that when you were young, we didn't think about our careers, basically. No. We were going to get married and have children, and that was going to be life.
And take care of our husband.
Yeah.
And he was going to take care of us.
Right. Well, I always thought he was going to take care of me more than I would. But anyway, so here we are. We've lived, both of us, very full lives. Very full lives
and very interesting lives. And I'm very lucky because I've had everything. I mean, I've had both worlds. I've had the wonderful thing of having a terrific daughter, and then several stepchildren, and yet at the same time having exciting and interesting jobs and being a part of New York City, which is a fabulous place to be a part of.
And it's also part of the community, you know, part of the world you're living in. How important that is for people. Do you think I think the world would be better if more people were involved. I mean, we worry about people voting, no less going to a meeting or belonging to a block association or having some interest somewhere. It's that life of, I mean, we have life together.
Yeah. Well, what I think is important is that you belong to something, that you care about something, that you care about something beyond your little world. And to me, as you get older, that becomes more and more important. You don't want to isolate yourself and be stuck in your apartment because it's much easier. But you go out and you're still part of the world, and you have friends, and you're part of a society. You and I go to these two wonderful lunches, and they're with people that we've known for a long time. And we keep up with them. We find out what's going on in their lives. That's interesting. That's fun. That keeps you alive and young.
It's a two-way street, though, I think. I think that I mean, people in the government these days are so young.
Yeah.
Did we not have anything that they could gain some extra insight or knowledge from?
Well, they certainly don't ask it.
They don't. And I think that's one of the problems that we have as we age, that younger people, I don't know if we do it to ourselves or if the world around us does it, but we sort of get pushed to the side.
Well, I do think as people get older, they get pushed to the side. And one of the things that I always really liked doing was teaching here at CUNY and at Baruch. I always thought that was a wonderful way to keep me relevant and to impart some of my information to kids who are studying exactly that, government and service. So I do think we have to push ourselves, is what I think. And people may not want us to push in, but we've got to keep pushing.
And I think we've got very valuable things for people to learn.
Absolutely.
So now you're at the Citizens Union. How many years have we been discussing ethics and reform and politics and everything?
Well, you know, one of the reasons that I really like working still, and people say, what are you doing working? You should have retired 10 years ago. I don't want to retire. I'm very interested in what Citizens Union does. One of the things that we work on all the time is ethics and campaign finance and trying to get more people to vote. The voting population in this city is really sad.
Terrible.
It's terrible. And we've got to figure out a way to get more people to vote, particularly in the local elections. It's really upsetting because the local elections are where it starts, and they're very important.
You know, when I was on the city council, I mean, people get elected to the council with what, 4,000 votes sometimes.
I know.
I was always proud that I got more, but you know.
Well, you know, now there are city council races coming up in November, and there are very few people running, and there are very few competitive races. So you're going to have a very small group voting. And I keep saying, okay, but you all should know, who is your assembly person? Who is your state senator? Who is your city council? City council is so important because, you know, they start where government exists. And if you want your garbage picked up, if you're concerned about the police department, if you're concerned about education, you need to be in touch with your city council person, or you need to be on the city council.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's so important, and that's one of the things that I keep doing, and that's why I work. That's why I'm so happy to be at Citizens Union.
Are you supporting, a Citizens Union supporting the moving of off elections onto even years?
Absolutely, it's one of our big projects. Now what happens?
Is that exclusively city council races?
Oh no, it will be now. It will be city council races
That are going to be put into even years.
Into even years.
So, yeah.
Some of the county upstate elections are now on even years.
Oh.
But what we want to have it done, and it has to be done by an amendment to the state constitution, which takes a while.
Right.
And we're making a whole big project to get this done.
Right. So we met when we were both working staff positions for the mayor of New York.
Yes, we were.
And it was in the 70s.
It was indeed.
And we had just come through the 60s. They were wonderful years because they were years of so much change.
Yeah.
And I think we all wanted to make the world a better place. I mean, there was no doubt about that. No. Don't you think?
I think that's true. In my case, actually, I was very lucky because it was the only job I could get. I was expected to be married and have a husband take care of me. And the only job I was ever offered was a secretarial job. And I was a terrible secretary. I mean, I couldn't keep the papers straight. And I was a mess. And I was very, very lucky because you brought me into city government at what I thought then was a very high level. I was an assistant to the mayor, Mayor John Lindsay, which was a very exciting.
It was a pretty high level.
It was a high level, and it was very exciting, and there were some wonderful, wonderful people that I met and still am friendly with. And we had a bunch of idealistic, very hardworking, a lot of fun.
So those were days of change and what we thought we were making the world a better place, but they were also the days of reform in politics.
Yes, they were.
You know, and that was also exciting. I mean, I came out of the reform movement, talking about not being a secretary. My first job after college was at CBS, but I was an executive secretary, top secretary, but I couldn't type or take shorthand, and only because my boss was a Harvard professor did I get the job. I failed it in the employment office. He said, "Are you physically handicapped or poorly coordinated that you can't learn to type?" I said, "No, as a matter of fact, I was an art student in high school." Anyway, but these are all these different things that we had to overcome, you know. So those times were so great. And then I don't know what happened as we went into different mayors and different financial situations, and it didn't become hopeful anymore. It became.
Well, that's an interesting.
You know.
Well, I actually left city government and then went into the not-for-profit world, and was running some not-for-profits, and that was also very interesting and very exciting.
Well, you also went to a poor institution.
I did.
You became the head, you know, just like that of the Historical Society.
I did.
What a great job that was.
Oh, not when I took it over. It was broken. It was bankrupt. It was closed. It was in terrible shape. And I have to tell you, people should go now and see what.
It's so beautiful.
It's beautiful. I did an okay job, but Louise Mirror has just has done a
Stunning.
spectacular job.
But you had on your board, what was the Trump's Secretary of Commerce?
Wilbur Ross.
Wilbur Ross. That.
I wasn't there when Wilbur.
Oh, you weren't there?
No, that was Barbara Debs, I think, before.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
I met him. I did meet him.
Yeah.
But he was definitely there. It was quite something, I gather.
Yeah. So how did that happen that you went there?
Well, I had a couple of other jobs. I ran the New York City Police Foundation.
That's right.
And then from there, when David Dinkins was elected mayor, I became Parks Commissioner.
Right.
Parks Commissioner being one of the great jobs
I
in New York
skipped over
City.
that.
And
That was very exciting.
it was
right?
fun and interesting, and what a job, because parks are wonderful. People love parks. You're doing great things for people. They need help. They need good management. It really is an exciting job. So I did that for 4 years, and then, of course, Mayor Giuliani, when he came in, fired me. Okay.
That was a distinction.
Yes, it was a great distinction. He had made a deal with the former Parks Commissioner to give him the Liberal Party line, and so I was gonzo. But then I went to the I was hired by the Historical Society. Yeah, I was lucky.
That was pretty good.
Well, I was very lucky because
Were you the first female Parks
yes,
Commissioner?
I was the first woman Parks Commissioner, female.
And was that a hard thing for you?
Not at all.
Did anybody? They didn't make a fuss, did they? about
No, there was
women?
no fuss. Everybody was extremely, Gordon Davis had been the Parks Commissioner previously, and Gordon was wonderful and helpful. And no, there was absolutely nothing. I don't know whether you found sexism in your position. I really didn't.
No, I never did.
I was very lucky. I did
Yeah.
not.
Only in the private. I mean, when I worked at CBS. Did it seem endless, the opportunities that were around?
Sure, at that point it did. Way back when I started out after college, oh my gosh, secretarial. I was offered secretary. I kept saying to the people that would offer the jobs, well, I don't really want to be a secretary. I'm not very good. Well, that's all you got, honey, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as my husband says to me now, well, maybe you would have worked yourself up to be the head of CBS if you had gone in as a secretary. I said, well, I didn't see that at the time.
I don't think it would have happened.
And I don't think it would have happened either.
But that's all right. So you ran for public advocate.
When I was at the Historical Society, I did an exhibition. Finally, we got it to the point where we could open up the Historical Society again. And we did an exhibition on lynching in America and New York. And it was an extraordinary exhibit. And there were lines around the block for the first time at the New York Historical Society, at least when I was there. And after that, I thought, I've done it. I'm not a museum person.
Right.
I'm not a curator. This is time for someone else to take it over. And Public Advocate became open. Mark Green ran for mayor, and that was open. And I and 8 other people ran for Public Advocate.
And you won.
I won. I can tell you exactly how I won.
How?
I raised more money than anybody else. I just spent the first 6 months raising money. And therefore I had the resources. I didn't have to do that while I was running for office.
You're sort of known for raising money.
That seems to be my.
What is it that lets you do that?
Well, I've got a lot of friends, and I've got a lot of friends who are very generous, and I've been able to kind of put together a network of people who help me raise the money that I need to raise to whatever I'm doing, and that's going on right now with the Citizens Union.
Yeah.
We have our benefit.
Have a big dinner coming.
It's a cocktail party on October 24th, and we're raising money, and we hope to have a lot of people there. We're honoring a lot of very wonderful people, and hopefully we'll raise a lot of money, and then I can go back and do things like encouraging more people to vote and working on changing the voting system in New York and changing the Board of Elections. There are just all kinds of things that can still be done. And talk about keeping relevant, I really want to be a part of that. So that's what's really important to me.
Do you find that your common sense is one of your strongest attributes?
I don't, I guess my, I like to tell it like it is. I think that's one of my strongest attributes, is that I really like to tell you what I think is right and what I think is wrong.
And you don't mind, you have no hesitation doing that.
No, I don't. But I don't want to be ideologic. Ideologic, I think that's the way you pronounce it. But I want to be straight.
Right.
And I think that's a quality, and that may be common sense. May be a result of common sense.
Yeah, I think that women tend to have more common sense. I now that may be, maybe a little out of date. I'm not even sure, but men had, at least they used to have roles they had to play. Women came from the outside, but they knew. I mean, if you're a mother and a wife and you're taking care of a household, you know a lot of things about how to go from here to here, or to do this or
that is true.
And you don't need all the fancy language around it.
Right, and yes, exactly. I totally agree with you. I think that I think we should have women running the world, because I think things would be a lot better. And we're kind of behind in this country.
Yeah.
You look at the other countries where women have been prime ministers or presidents, and to me that's been a little bit more effective. But I'm prejudiced.
So, what about the world today? How can anybody be sane in it?
I don't know. This is so horrible, what happened in Israel. It's just beyond belief. And it's just, we're sitting here, what can we do? I mean, of course we stand with Israel, but the horrors of what happened are just awful. And you can blame both sides. I mean, but that isn't going to do any good. I mean, the question is, why is this happening?
Well, but people living in Gaza have had a very hard time.
Terrible.
And to then say, well, you're going to have to go back to living that way. You can't. I mean, the world has too much rejection in it now as it is, don't you think? I mean, people are objecting to so many different things, some very good things and some very bad things. I despair of it, though.
Well, I despair of it too, and I think the conditions in Gaza were horrific, and the anger. But I just didn't think anything warranted what happened.
Right.
Nothing warranted it.
Right.
And I mean, I've been to Israel 5 times, and
Yeah.
I understand. I think they've made some terrible mistakes. I can't deny that. But on the other hand, nothing warranted what happened. Nothing.
Right. I mean, and you can't imagine why. I can't imagine what Hamas was thinking. I mean, did they think they were real? I don't know what they were thinking other than anger. And
I think anger.
Yeah.
And I think they want to stop whatever might happen between the Saudis and the Israelis.
Yeah.
And they feel that if they did this, the tension would be paid to what they did, which is true. It's what's happening. I also think that the government in Israel was distracted. I don't know how it could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest intelligence services in the world, the Israelis, and us,
All right.
incredible.
And what do you think Robert Kennedy is thinking?
Not the one who was running as an independent for president.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass on that question.
Why?
Because I think it's just outrageous what he's doing.
Well, I agree. So why can't you say it?
I think it's outrageous what Robert Kennedy Jr. is doing. I think he's. I don't.
What does he think he's doing?
I don't know. And the fact that he is against vaccinations and purports all of this stuff that I think is terrible. I don't understand it.
I mean, it's very dangerous.
Very.
If we have Donald Trump again as president,
Oh, please.
it's just crazy.
It is crazy.
This is what's so up and nervous. Now, you have grandchildren?
I have grandchildren. I do. I have several. I have my own grandchildren, my own sort of blood grandchildren,
Right.
and I have several step grandchildren.
Right. And how old are they about?
Well, my grandchildren, my real grandchildren, my blood grandchildren, my oldest one is 27. The next one is 22, and the young woman is 21. And they are terrific kids. My grandson is living in Los Angeles. Thank heavens the strike is over, and he wants to write for scripts. He wants to write scripts. And my granddaughter is studying in London. And my oldest grandchild is working in Denver. He just got out. He was in the French Foreign Legion for 5 years.
That's a great thing.
It was a very interesting story. And then I have a lot of step-grandchildren who are great.
Do you see, the reason I asked is I have 6 grandchildren too, and I see the difficulty they have in looking to the future and in finding, what can they do in this world? Because they're so worried about climate change and what's going on in the world, and the costs of everything, and the inability to afford housing, and the stress that they're growing up with is nothing really compared to us looking for husbands.
No, I mean, I agree with you, and I think they're a little more realistic about what they can do. At least my grandkids are, and I have older step grandchildren who are pretty. They're pretty settled, and they're worried about things, and they do work. They do work to try to better things.
Right.
That isn't exactly their professions right now. But they care, but they don't seem to be overly worried. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
Yours are, yeah. I think the ones that live in New York love New York. They love the energy of New York, and they love being in New York, and they kind of have a lot of friends. They've all grown up around here, so they think New York City is just terrific.
Right. The same that we do.
The same way that we do.
So what about the city? Let's talk about the city.
Okay, let's talk about the city.
Okay.
And I'd be very happy to talk about the city any way you want.
Well, I remember the city different times when people say it was such a terrible time, and I don't remember it being that terrible a time. So that's number one.
Yeah.
I know we lived in a brownstone. Remember, we had a bunch of brownstones that we were able to buy in the urban renewal area, and we made it in a nonprofit. It was a whole long thing. And we kept being burglarized at night. And the kids would say, somebody was here last night, because downstairs on the parlor floor at the dining room table would be an orange juice carton and cigarette butts on the floor. So they were people who were on drugs and who would somehow get into the apartment. And I would say, well, they didn't wake us up, did they? And then it was...
You're lucky you're here.
But we were casual. I mean, I don't think my kids were casual. I was casual. That's what was really funny. Until somebody tried to climb in my window, and then we moved. But I don't remember it as being as bad as they say it was. So I don't know how bad it is now. I mean,
I think one of the issues now is I don't think it is that bad, and I think where they talk about where the murders and the gangs and all of that is not in places where we live,
which is also unfair.
Which is unfair, and there are a lot of people who live in the projects.
Right.
They have a real problem, and there I admire what the mayor has done. I think that the way the mayor and the police department have really taken down a lot of the crime that's been going on in those neighborhoods. I think it can always be better, but I do think there's been an incredible movement there. I don't see it that much where I live, and I agree with you. It's not necessarily fair, but I don't see it. I think the city is really, people who tell me this city is dying, you cannot get into a restaurant. The noise in the restaurants is unbearable. There's so many people. The streets are just crowded with people. I mean, I don't know. I'm very optimistic about the city, and I'm tired of people complaining about the mayor. The mayor when he went down to South America, I think what he did was very understandable and smart. I think that he was trying to figure out, sure, he was trying to tell them not to come, but that wasn't going to happen. Those people are desperate. But he was trying to figure out, he was trying to see it, he was trying to see what it was like. He went to the Darien Gulch, whatever it's called. That was terribly brave of him. And he went to look and see what was happening. He met all of the heads of state. He's got a relationship with them now. Perhaps he can call them and make some suggestions about how to stop the influx that we are feeling. I just get so furious. What do people want him to do? What is it that's...
I think they don't want him to love the job so much. Anyway, I think that we've shown what we mean by keeping relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, we're interested.
Interested in everything, interested in everything.
And we still think we can contribute.
I do. I know you can, and I'm pretty sure I can.
We have the spirit. Betsy, we've come to the end of our program. Thank you for sharing our interpretation of keeping relevant. I think it's very important for us and for other people around us. And not for everybody, because everybody's going to get old. And stay vital. I mean, there's nothing about getting older that's going to make us be faint-hearted.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.